There we go. Welcome to another edition of Adam Curry Presents. Oh, how are you? Less than 3 weeks from now, it's the Summer Games with exciting fun. And we got a exciting game of X and O's that's coming up with a classic 1981 episode of Tic-Tac-Toe with Wink Martindale. Coming up next. Sister Sledge, hit it!
Hallå, stanna! Det är en timme alltså.
Looks like you need some help, huh? Do you speak any English?
Nej, svenska. Men titta, om du ger mig några...
How about a Coke?
Coke?
Drink.
Vad är det för något?
Coke.
Coca-Cola!
Well, where to?
Oh, just down to the next gas station.
Dancin'. 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 Bob Fosse's Dancin' at the Ambassador Theater.
Today in New York City, there are children who have never experienced the security of a permanent home. I'm Dorothy Dooley, Director of Adoption Services at the New York Foundling Hospital. We at the Foundling are looking for warm and nurturing adoptive homes for Black and Hispanic children of all ages. We also need families for children of all races who have physical and mental handicaps and who are eagerly longing for parents to call their own. For many of these children, financial assistance is available for their adoptive care. Whether you are married or single, we ask you to consider opening your heart and home to a special child. Please contact us and experience for yourself the joy that only a child can bring. The New York Foundling Hospital is located at 1175 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. Give us a call at 212-472-2233, extension 299. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jimmy Sturr inviting you to share Christmas in my hometown with his very special album featuring the songs that reflect all the traditions and warmth, the spirit and devotion, the celebration and the joy.
This is Christmas season, so there isn't any reason we can't dance the Christmas.
All the things that Christmas mean to me. Polka Christmas in my hometown with the Jimmy Sturr Orchestra. Featuring the Matush Singer. And the fabulous Jimmy Sturr Singers delighting you with Supersonic Sleigh. Twinkle Toes. On this Christmas day. This giant 2-record set contains 23 selections, 23 heartwarming Christmas classics your family will treasure for a lifetime. Polka Christmas in my hometown is not available in stores, so to get yours before the Christmas rush, act right now. It's only $8.98 for the 2-record set and just $10.98 for the 8-track tape or cassette. Here's how to order.
To order your Polka Christmas, call toll-free 1-800-453-6600. That's 1-800-453-6600. Or save COD charges by sending $8.98 for the 2-record set or $10.98 for the 8-track tape or cassette to Polka Christmas, P.O. Box 11077, Newington, Connecticut. All mail orders must include $1.50 for postage and handling. Order now to avoid the Christmas rush.
From Hollywood, it's everybody's game of strategy, knowledge, and fun. It's Tic-Tac-Toe. And now, here's our host, Wink Martindale.
Thank you very much.
you and welcome to our show. And here is the gentleman who knocked off our big $100,000 winner on the last show. Here is our new champion.
Our current champion, whose winnings total in cash $2,400, is from Citrus Heights, California. He's the announcer for a harness racetrack. Meet Jim Crawford.
Jim, when we ended up in the last show, we ran out of time. We had some unfinished business, and we'll get to that in just a second. So far, though, you've won $2,400, and I think all of that's in cash, isn't it?
It is.
Right. What are you going to do with your money? Say, what if you won about, at the outside, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000? What would happen to all that kinds of cash with you?
Well, I'd be tempted to prudently invest it, but I imagine there's going to be some of it's going to go for a little frivolous items on the side, trips or something like that.
Let's find out now what happens to those trips that are available to you in the bonus game as you try to beat the dragon. Come on over here. Welcome back. Remember this place from our last show? On the board, of course, there are various amounts of money, a tick, a tack, and the dragon. You know how it works. If you get to $1,000 or more or get the tick and the tack, you'll win a nice prize package. And in the prize package that we were dealing with on the last show, luggage, fashions, a trip to Reno, Nevada. And what else, Jay, were we doing?
Well, Jim, you'll be on your way to the island paradise of Hawaii. Land of sugarcane, coconuts, and exotic flowers. You'll enjoy the golden beaches, the tropical sun, and island entertainment. And, Jim, this resort package is worth, in cash and prizes, over $3,700.
Just avoid the dragon or you lose everything. Get the tick and the tack and you automatically get the dough. Now, on the last show, if you'll remember, time ran out before we could finish the bonus game. This is what the board looked like when we had to end things. $950 in the pot. And, of course, you can take that $950 as stop. All you need is $50 or tack to win those two trips and those fashions. So what do you want to do, stop or go for one more?
I'm going to go for one more.
What's that number going to be?
Number one.
Number one. He needs $50 or tack to win. Behind number one is the dragon. After all of that, and you got so close. Anything but number one. Well, let's look at the rest of the board. 3, 6, 7, and 9. I don't believe it either. That trip to Hawaii and the one to Reno was so nice. There was tack right there behind number 6. Tick, of course, up there behind number 2. You had. All you need was $50. $50. However, you do have a nice tidy sum, as we told you. You know you have in cash already $2,400. And hopefully you can add to that shortly. Let's meet a new opponent right now. You move over there. And Jay Stewart, who's going to take him on in this next match?
Born in Jackson, Tennessee, here's a commander in the Navy who enjoys backpacking and model trains. Meet Jim Nunn.
Jim Nunn. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Wing.
Nice to see you. And you were born in Jackson, Tennessee. You know, that's my hometown.
Yes, and I used to watch you on the Mars Patrol show when you were on TV back then.
Did you do that when you were a kid?
An old kid, yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say that's no way to make friends with the host of the game show on which you were, well, anyway. What do you do in the Navy, Jim?
Well, I'm a commanding officer of a fighter squadron down at Miramar. And we are an adversary outfit that teaches people how to dogfight their fighters.
What's an adversary outfit?
Well, the fighters play the good guys and we play the bad guys. We teach them how to fly very well.
Sounds like you like what you do, though.
Best job in the Navy, and what could be more fun than playing games and winning money?
Well, my sentiments exactly, and it's going to be time for you to try your hands at our fancy little game called Tic-Tac-Toe right after we take a break. As far as you know, you've defeated 2 opponents. Make it 3 more for a total of 5, and you got one of these.
Jim, for your driving pleasure, you will win a brand new car.
Great audience out there. They're right with you. Okay, let's take a look at the subjects and begin. Jim and Jim. It's going to be confusing. Scary things, famous sights, funny ladies, Bills and Billies, animals, news of the 80s, country music, opera, and famous couples. Jim Crawford, you begin.
I think I'll take famous couples in the lower right.
All right, famous couples it is. Here's your question. Jim, Oscar-winning actor William Holden has for several years been linked romantically with a talented actress named Stephanie. She starred in The Girl from U.N.C.L.E. and opposite Robert Wagner in Heart to Heart. What's her name?
Powers.
Right, Stephanie Powers. An X in the box, famous couples. Let's shuffle the categories around. From Jim to Jim. This time it's Jim Nunn.
Country music, Wink, in the center square.
All right, in the center square, in the center box, we're $300 to the pot, Jim. This country music show, which has been broadcast for over 50 years, is the oldest continuous show on radio. Its home is one of the most unusual opera houses in the world. First, name the show and then name its hometown. And before you do it, think about it a few seconds. Name the show we're talking about, Jim.
The Grand Ole Opry.
Right. Name its hometown.
Nashville.
Right. Nashville, Tennessee. Asking a Tennessean that question's like saying who's president of the United States. A man from Jackson got to know that. Okay, put an O there. $300 to the pot. Let's shuffle the categories and move it back to Jim Crawford. Jim, where do you move with your second X?
Famous sites in the upper right-hand corner.
Famous sites. Jim, take a look at this famous site, please. This famous opera house was constructed in 1973 and is a landmark of a major city in a South Pacific country. Name the city.
Sydney.
Right, Sydney, Australia is that city. And that's worth another X on the board. Let's shuffle the categories. $700 to play with, Jim.
Well, Wink, for the vertical block, I'll have to pick Scary Things.
Scary Things. Yeah, you need this one for a block vertically of the other Jim. In this classic Charles Dickens novel, Ebenezer Scrooge is paid a late-night visit by ghosts of the past, present, and future. For a block of Jim Crawford, name the novel.
A Christmas Carol.
Correct. That's good for a block vertically, a Christmas Carol. Put an O in Scary Things. Let's shuffle. $900 pot. Jim Crawford, back to you.
Well, Wink, it's not my best subject, but for the block, I'm going to have to go to country music on the left.
But didn't you tell me on the last show that you were involved in music and you like certain kinds of music, but you said your favorite kind of music was Broadway shows, that kind of thing, not country music. Well, Jim, good luck on this one, because if you answer it correctly, you'll have a successful block. This singer and songwriter made the country charts with the novelty song Guitar Zen, as well as the gospel tune Everything is Beautiful. For a block, name him.
Stevens.
Right, Ray Stevens. So you know something about country music. Put an X there. 4 boxes are still left on the board. $1,100 in the pot as we move them around again. Back to Jim Nunn.
I'm going to try Scary Things again.
Top center. Second time in that box. Scary Things. In Washington Irving's novel, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Brom Bones disguises himself in order to scare off Ichabod Crane. What did he disguise himself as?
The Headless Horseman.
You got it. Another O on the board. Scary Things, the answer, Headless Horseman. $1,300 in the pot. Checking the board, 3 boxes remain. What subjects will show up, we'll find out as we shuffle. They are opera, news of the 80s, and famous couples. Jim Crawford.
Wink, I'd like famous couples.
You need this for a vertical block of your opponent. Jim, this award-winning actress devotes much of her off-screen time to political activism with her husband, former senatorial candidate Tom Hayden. To block Jim Nunn, name the actress.
Jane Fonda.
Right, vertical block. Put an X there in the box, famous couples. In the pot now, $1,500. 2 boxes are left on the board. The categories that show up as we shuffle will decide if we have a win or a tie. News of the 80s and famous couples. Jim Nunn.
For the block, I've got to pick famous couples. Wink.
Jim, if you answer this correctly, you will block your opponent, our current champion, Jim Crawford, and we will have a tie game. Jim, 2 of the top motion picture performers of the 1980s are seen together both on and off screen. Her name is Sandra Locke, and she's co-starred with her superstar boyfriend in films like Bronco Billy and The Gauntlet. For a tie game, name him.
Clint Eastwood.
You got it, and we have a tie. Sandra Locke and Clint Eastwood. Very good. But you look like you were going through excruciating difficulty.
Well, Wink, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think of his name until the last half second that I had left.
Well, welcome to the other club over there, led by Jim Crawford, when he defeated our big $100,000 plus champion. Jim, you know what he's talking about, right?
I do.
Because you came in right on the last second to defeat him in your match against our big winner. So we have $1,700 in the pot, and we'll get a second game underway now between our 2 Jims, and these are the subjects that you'll have to deal with in this next game. Here they are. Sleuths, the 70s, television stars, nicknames, geology, sex symbols, mythology, ships, and musicals. All right, Jim.
I think I'll go for musicals in the lower right corner.
I kind of thought you, after knowing your favorite subject. This musical fantasy by Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Lowe tells the story of a Scottish village that only reawakens for one day every 100 years. The songs include Almost Like Being in Love, Name this classic musical, Jim, and you'll have an X in this game.
That's Brigadoon.
Correct. So we put an X in the box on musicals. And by the way, before we go any further, I do want to point this out, because somebody could say, well, that's really weird. Those scheduling categories on Tic-Tac-Toe, believe me, do not know in what order the contestants will appear. That happens strictly by coincidence, because it has appeared in other games and in other shows, and it will appear in future games and future shows. Let's move the categories around. $1,900 in the pot. Okay, Jim Nunn.
I'm going to take musicals in the center wing.
All right, musicals. Again in the category. Jim, this 1957 musical, which starred Robert Preston, told the story of how Professor Harold Hill tried to con the residents of a small city into supporting a boys' band. First, name the musical and then name the city after you take a few seconds to think about it. Jim, you're shaking your head in the affirmative. Name the musical.
The Music Man.
That's right. Give me the city and you got the center box.
River City.
You got it. Put him on the center box. Harold Hill, the great professor. Music Man. Put an O there. $300 in the pot. Look at the total now, gentlemen. $2,200. As we continue moving the categories around. Back to Jim Crawford.
Wink, I'd like Sleuths in the middle right.
Sleuths it is. Question, first time in the category. Jim, this hit television series stars Robert Urich as the handsome, wisecracking detective Dan Tanna, who drives a vintage T-Bird and lives his life fast and loose. Name the series.
Vegas.
Right. From Las Vegas. Vegas. Bob Urich. So we put an X there, another $200 in the pot. We have $2,400 to play with now, and we'll get back to our game right after this.
Rock is not sold in stores.
Thank you, Jay. We have a very good match going on here. We're in the second game between Jim and Jim, and we have $2,400 in the pot. Let's shuffle the categories, and Jim Nunn, it's O's turn, so you select.
Well, I've got to go for vertical block with nicknames, Wink.
Yeah, you do need that one. I just noticed that myself. You're keeping closer tabs on this game than I am, Jim, for a vertical block. Over the years, this southern state has had such descriptive nicknames as the Border Eagle State and the Magnolia State. To block Jim Crawford, name it.
Mississippi.
You got it. The Magnolia State, the Border Eagle State of Mississippi. Good for a block vertically. We put an O there and shuffle again with $2,600 at stake at this point. Jim Crawford.
Well, Wink, I'll have to go in the lower left corner for a diagonal block with ships.
Yeah, it's ironic. You need to block him with ships, Navy man. Jim, here's your question for a diagonal block. This American battleship, which has been nicknamed Mighty Mo, was the location of the signing of the Japanese surrender at the end of World War II. For a block, name the ship.
The Missouri.
Right, the USS Missouri. Good for a diagonal block. We put an X there. Jim Nunn, you knew that one, didn't you?
Oh, sure did.
Navy man got to know that. I guess we all knew that one. Let's move the categories around with 4 boxes left. $2,800 pot. Jim Nunn?
Well, for the horizontal block in the bottom center, I've got to go with sex symbols.
Yeah, across the bottom, sex symbols to block your opponent. The films of this dark-haired beauty named Ava include The Barefoot Contessa and On the Beach. Her husbands include Artie Shaw and Frank Sinatra. For a horizontal block, name her.
Ava Gardner.
You got it. Ava Gardner. Beautiful lady. Put an O there. Good for a block. $3,000 to play with at this point. 3 boxes remain on the board. Let's see what happens. Shuffle shows us mythology, musicals, and television stars, Jim.
We'll have to block again, Wink, with musicals.
Well, it couldn't be a better subject for you, according to your past. Jim, for a block. This famous playwright wrote the 1979 Broadway hit, They're Playing Our Song, as well as such Broadway comedies as Plaza Suite and Barefoot in the Park. For a block, name him.
Simon.
Right, Neil Simon. Good for a vertical block. Put an X there. $3,200 in the pot. We're down to 2 boxes now, and the categories in them will decide what happens to you in this game. Let's shuffle. Sex symbols and geology, Jim Nunn.
I think I'm going to go for geology for the tie.
All right. Question on geology. Answer it correctly, and you will have a tie game. For a second tie, The diamond, which is the hardest natural substance known to man, is made up almost entirely of this chemical element. For a second tie, name it.
Carbon.
Right, we have another tie game. Carbon, the answer on the subject, geology. So an O goes there. And obviously, by looking at the board, we have $3,400 as we get another game underway using the following subjects. Strange names, the United Nations, UN, one-word titles, maps of states, medical facts, redheads, famous buildings, mixed drinks, and young stars. Third game, Jim, begin.
I'd like famous buildings in the lower left corner.
Famous buildings, all righty. Question, Jim, one of Hollywood's most visited attractions is a theater on Hollywood Boulevard. In its forecourt are the footprints and handprints of many stars immortalized in cement. If you can name this famous movie palace, you've gotten your first X.
The Chinese Theater.
Right. Grauman's Chinese Theater or Mann's Theater. We all know that one. Put an X in famous buildings. Let's move the categories. Adding $200 to the pot. Jim, we're up to $3,600. Jim Nunn.
I'm going to go with famous buildings in the center.
In the center box. Again, this is worth $300 to the pot, Jim. I'll give you the names of several famous buildings. You name the city in which they're located. Is that a deal? All right. First, name the Midwestern city which is famous for the Prudential Tower and Hull House. Secondly, name the city which is famous for the Arco Towers and the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Think about those. Jim, name the Midwestern city famous for the Prudential Tower and Hull House.
Chicago.
Right, Chicago, Illinois. Name the city famous for the Arco Towers and the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion.
Los Angeles.
Wouldn't you know it? Yeah. You miss that one, you get a demerit. Okay, we put an O there. $300 addition to the pot takes it to 3,900 big ones. Let's shuffle. I read that last question. I still didn't believe it. All right, Jim Crawford.
Wink, I'd like maps of states.
Maps of states, all righty. And we always show you a map. Take a look at this map of the western United States, James. This Rocky Mountain state is well known for its ski resorts like Sun Valley. Name it.
That's Idaho.
Gotta be, yeah. Sun Valley, Idaho. Great state of Idaho. So an X in maps of states. Let's shuffle again. We're over the $4,000 mark. 4,001, Jim.
Wink, to block on the lower right-hand corner, I've got to go with Young Stars.
All right, for a block, answer this on Young Stars, and you'll have it. In 1980, 10-year-old Ricky Schroeder starred opposite Alec Guinness in the television film Little Lord Fauntleroy. Schroeder first became a star when he played John Voight's son in a hit movie. For a block, name the film.
Prize Fighter.
No, it was about prize fighting, but it was called The Champ. Yeah, starring Ricky Schroeder and, of course, John Voight, The Champ. So we still have $4,100 to deal with in our pot, and still a lot of boxes remaining. Let's shuffle. Jim Crawford.
Wink, I'll go for the win with medical facts.
Jim, if you answer the question on medical facts, you will have won your third game of tic-tac-toe. You will have picked up $4,300 by so doing. That would give you, all in cash, $6,700. Because both times the dragon has eluded you. Jim, what is the name given to the branch of medical science that uses X-rays for diagnosis and treatment for a total of $6,700, all in cash? Radiology. Jim, the other Jim, saved by radiology. Yeah, the name given to the branch of medical science using X-rays for diagnosis and treatment, radiology. Well, the other Jim, Jim Nunn, got, well, fresh blood, saved. Let's move around again. $4,100 in the pot. Mr. Nunn?
Well, Wink, of course, I've got to go in the bottom right-hand corner again with strange names.
All right, strange names this time. Again, trying to block your opponent. Question. This famous NBC News commentator has a last name which sounds like the title given to the head of Germany's government. For a block, name him.
Bundestag?
No, Chancellor. Chancellor. Title given to the head of Germany's government. We're talking about John Chancellor. So still $4,100 in the pot. At this critical moment, we got to pause again. We'll be back. Next show, Wink Martindale for Tic-Tac-Toe. Bye-bye.
Some of our butter contestants will receive Diaper-Ine baby powder made with naturally absorbed cornstarch to keep babies dry and comfortable. 100% talc-free Diaper-Ine baby powder. And when you want to brighten someone's day, give your Tootsie a Tootsie. Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Pop Drops, and Tootsie Mason Mints. Also, Hall's Mentholyptus Cough Tablets. Vapor action penetrates deep. They help your stuffy nose feel clearer. Hall soothes your throat, helps your cough. Plus, Shout Liquid, Shout Aerosol. 2 ways to tackle your tough stains. Want a tough stain out? Shout it out. And Phylon patio panels for elegant outdoor living. Enjoy the bright, cool comfort of a glare-proof, shatterproof patio. Do-it-yourself panels by Phylon. Also, St. Mary's luxurious bath fashions. Colorful towels with rugs and bath carpeting of 100% Dacron polyester. Soft, thick pilots, completely machine washable. Tic-Tac-Toe is a Jack Berry and Dan Enright production.
Greetings from Wink Martindale and Game Show Network.
We are going to have a ball.
Get ready for Tic-Tac-Toe.
It's going to be wild.
The questions can be tough.
3 island territories send delegates to presidential conventions. Name 2.
Puerto Rico
Right?
and Guam.
Right, for
There's
Tic-Tac-Toe.
plenty of excitement,
To believe it, you got to watch it.
and it always pays to avoid the dragon. Tic-Tac-Toe, the place where X's and O's can have you rolling in dough.
You're watching Game Show Network, where What's My Line is next with Wally Bruner, followed by Password and Card Shark.
Look at this. Oh my God, that's our show for you today. I hope you guys tune in for another Adam Curry Presents next time. Oh yeah, Sister Sledge, hit it.
It's